Hey, yo, what up, everybody? Welcome back to the next episode of the Generational Beef Podcast.
Original beef.
My name is Tristan Terrell, your host, as well as my dad.
Noel Terrell.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into it. First thing, couple elephants in the room. I was told this week that I, quote, held the microphone like a maniac. So I got some negative opinions on that. I was going to put it back and then just didn't have time, ran out of time. It would be a very complex process to put it back and was not trying to delay recording. So I didn't do it. It will be
people
fixed.
we know, or were these other people giving you this feedback?
No. People we know. But
okay.
Anyways.
Well, that's funny because at least I have an adult microphone.
But... Sure. Whatever. They were not caring about the color. It was the fact that they said that I was holding it like a maniac. Quote.
So, I thought it was weird, but whatever you want to do.
I was just testing the waters, seeing how it looked, seeing how it
felt. I wasn't going
to
beef over the microphone.
Other very quick thing is I'm wearing a Sacramento Kings hat today. First of all, love this hat. Great hat.
I remember when we bought it for you and where we were.
Also, more importantly, wearing it to show respect for ending their 18, 16, something like that game losing streak. This week, they won a game for the first time since Sean McDermott had a job.
Fair enough.
The divisional round of the playoffs in the NFL had not happened yet. So
I could not feel worse for Westbrook right now because he's playing great. And
he's playing some solid basketball. Now, he is stuffing stats on a bad team. So, but
you can say that, but without him,
I mean, they still lost 16 games in a row. So
without him,
whatever.
But imagine without him.
Well, but it's part of it too is that with the whole tanking thing, they shut down Zach LaVine for the season. They shut down Domantas Sabonis for the season, and they did have real injuries, but it's also partially the tanking thing. They didn't shut down Russell Westbrook for the season because they're not actually worried about him adding that many wins to their team. So otherwise they would. Anyways, we can get into actual stuff. I just wanted to address those things first, mostly the mic. It will be fixed next week. It will. It's actually quite complex how it fits in there, though. So I probably shouldn't have done it.
I don't even want to know.
Anyways, so.
All right. So I kick off the Olympics first. I would say overall, Winter Olympics aren't where we shine typically. We were second place in overall medal count at 33 behind Norway.
Shout out the Norwegians.
Especially when you consider, by the way, I don't know if you've ever looked this up. I was curious about it this week. I knew we had more medals historically than anyone when you look at all Olympics, right? Including summer.
Right.
What would be your guess on the difference between us and number 2?
I mean, okay, so the thing I would think about is that there's not too many countries that are that great in both, right? Like you're going to look at your Norways, your Swedens, those kind of countries are going to be
Canada.
Right, Canada are going to be really good in winter, but they're not going to be good in summer. You're going to look at other teams. There's soccer, so a lot of your South American countries, African countries, stuff like that are going to be a lot better in summer, but probably not as great in winter. So that becomes very interesting. If I had to guess, I would assume it's either China or Russia, just based on size, population.
No, my question is, what do you think the difference between us and number 2 is?
Okay. Well, who is number 2? Just curious.
Soviet Union.
Okay, that's
not Russia, but
well. So it's not counting the current country of Russia. Okay.
I assume Russia's further down on the list. Yeah, Russia's down on the list.
Oh, okay. Well, that also makes it even more than I would have thought, because since
this isn't a trivia question.
No, I know.
This is just I was curious about it, and so I was
because it's not the Soviet Union and Russia. Obviously, that makes it a much smaller sample size because Soviet Union.
If you added them together, they wouldn't be close. I'll add them together for fun. They're number 2.
Okay.
I'll give you number one, which is us, of course, and I'll tell
Obviously.
you our medal count, and then tell me where you think,
Okay, yeah,
even
that
combine Russia and Soviet Union together.
give me a
How's that?
reference. How many medals do we have all time?
3143,
Right,
3,143.
right, right, right. I'm gonna
So I
say
will even let you count the two of them together.
I'm gonna say so where does Russia rank all time by themselves?
Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
11. Okay. I'm gonna say that if you combine them, they're 600 behind us. They're at a solid 2,500.
If I combine them,
Okay.
they're shy of 1,500.
No,
Yes.
that's
Germany is in
insane.
third. Germany is in third. So the Soviet Union had 1,204. Russia has 193. Or sorry, no, it's more like, sorry, I was looking at the wrong column. 547. So like 1,600 or 1,700.
That's still
Still
wild.
1,400 behind us, right? Germany is 1140. China 819.
Really? Wow.
Why are they doing it that way? Actually, Great Britain has 1,000, so Great Britain would be a 33. They would be in fourth, and then China. I don't know why they flipped them there. Or no, then it would be France, then China.
Are you sorting just
Well,
by
France, Italy.
golds?
Why did they not sort this
Are you
correctly?
sorting it
Hold on.
by it's probably sorted by
No,
golds.
I'm. Oh, it might be. It is sorted on gold.
Yeah.
Um,
Sorted on
Either
totals.
way, still, what I said originally is still true. Let me see if I can find a better. That's kind of dumb the way they did that.
Lots of dead air time here. Great podcasting.
Anyway, that's all I had on that. Anyway,
So wait,
we're
so what's the actual number?
1,500 medals higher, huh?
Okay. Okay.
It's still that part's still true.
That's
That
insane.
doesn't change
I mean,
anything.
I guess it makes sense cuz like obviously we dominate Summer Olympics most of the time. And then in the Winter Olympics we're still competitive normally. Not always, but normally. So,
We're always in the top 3 or 4 typically.
yeah.
Um, and we may not have always won it,
Now,
but
for what it
99% of the
for
time
what it's
we
worth,
we walk away with summer with the most medals.
for what it's worth, how much time is like what time span is this considering?
All time?
No, I know, but like there have been like reportings of like the Olympic Games starting in uh like ancient Greek or whatever, like semblance of them, obviously. So I'm saying like when did the official
I
like
would assume in the modern era. I
no
mean, that's the
I
best
know
I can tell
that's what
you.
I'm saying. So like
I don't
when
remember
did that start?
I don't know.
Okay, I guess my point was going to be that there's also a lot of countries that just haven't always existed in their current state
Well,
since then.
we're one of the newest ones.
Well, that's not necessarily. I'm saying like
Historically speaking, if you're going back to ancient Greece, we
no,
probably are
no.
the newest country.
I, I but I'm not. I'm saying in the current Olympic times is what I'm saying. Like whatever that number is
I
including.
understand that, but
Like
aside from like
for
Russia and West and East Germany, you're not talking about a difference here. Most of the countries that compete are not new.
not
They've
necessarily,
been
but
around since the beginning.
let me. Okay, so when was the first Olympics held?
I mean, they were doing this
Um,
back in the 20s,
the
son.
first.
I'm
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. So the first recorded Olympic Games were held in 776 BC. Um, the first modern Olympic Games were 1896. Okay,
okay.
so
130 years.
yeah, okay, so most countries that are relevant
Right.
have been around that entire time. But
Correct. Now, obviously the coolest story, if you're an American, was the hockey story.
Miracle on Ice Part
Um,
Two, first time we won it since then.
yeah, what I found interesting, let me give you a little bit of, this isn't the official trivia either, but I found it interesting. The men, US men and US women,
Hmm.
the men have 11 medals all time
In hockey,
in hockey, and they
how many
have
golds? Two, just two.
two,
Okay,
8 silvers, and one bronze. But keep in mind, in the 2000s, there's only two silvers,
Okay.
right? So
The women's Olympics
you're going
game.
back, but hold on. The women,
It's only been around since
US,
1998, and we won it. We've won it 3 times. So
and they have 8 medals,
right, but they've won it. They've won it 3 times.
right?
So
They've won it three. They have four silvers and a
so
bronze.
it's been around since '98,
So
which is 28 years. So it's only been around for 7 Olympics, and they won it 3 times. So
right, but they have a total of 8 medals.
or so no, it's been around for 8 times. 8 times when you include both.
Yeah,
So
so they'd medaled just about every Olympic
not
since
ever,
it came
not
out.
just about. They have in every single
Yeah.
Olympic since it became a
So
thing. Yeah.
so obviously women's hockey has been for the US has been much more dominant than men's hockey,
Which is
obviously.
makes sense. I think in a lot of women's sports, I think it got bigger here before a lot of places for whatever reason because we've been really good in women's hockey, we've been really good in women's soccer, but
That's fair.
obviously in both of those in the men's we're actually tragically bad normally.
Normally.
So
So, I think it's a great story. I thought it was interesting, and I don't know what it is because I've never felt like uh uh Canadians are overly aggressive and/or like poor sports. But
right,
like the guy with the curling thing was odd. That doesn't usually happen. But then when they came out, the player for Canada came out after we played better. So
you
because
lost the
they shot a
game.
lot more shots on goal,
Right.
like significantly more shots on goal for sure. Like they were on the offensive, they were um shooting way more often. Now it just shows you the epic game the goalie had for the US. Epic,
Right.
right? To defend that many shots on goal. I don't remember what the number was, but it was a lot. And uh, yes, your offense got it down there more than our offense got it to the other side. But you know what? We scored 2 goals, you scored one. Like it was kind of a weird take on it because you're assuming just because you're getting shots on goal, you played the better game. And technically, I suppose that's true, right? It is a volume sport where you're more likely to score the more you shoot. Um, but our goalie killed you. And so, yes, based on just about any other metric but the score, maybe you did, but so what? You didn't score.
Yeah. It's kind of like a football game where one team moves the ball at will, but then gets a couple penalties, gets kicked out of field goal range, whatever, and then the other team gets plays a terrible game and then gets like a kick return or something, and then ends up winning the game. And you're like, for 58 minutes of this 60-minute game, one team played much better, and then they lost the game because this happened, and it sucks. But at the end of the day, that's why you keep score. That's why you play the game, right?
Right.
Like. Uh,
And and it just speaks to the epic game the goalie had.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Like,
And
it's crazy you
Jack
defended that
Hughes
many.
Jack Hughes is a
Yeah,
dog overtime goal.
yeah. It
So
was funny. I saw a couple of clips from the movie Miracle on Ice, of course,
right,
about the 1980s team.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Have
yeah,
you seen this?
yeah, 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 yeah.
One of the guys they cut from the team, his name was Jack
Well,
Hughes.
he was the last cut guy actually.
Yeah.
Um,
Anyway, it's kind of interesting.
yeah. Who and I could be wrong, but I think I also saw that in his professional career that Jack Hughes played for the New Jersey Devils, which is who the current Jack Hughes plays for as well. So I could be wrong on that, but I think I saw that as well. So just kind of interesting little
Yeah.
tidbits, kind of cool.
Anyway, that's all I really had about the Olympics.
And then obviously the women's team was just dominant the whole time. You know, the last game was close, but just absolutely
Yeah,
dominant.
I mean, what did they score? Like they scored over 20 goals by the end of it,
I mean,
and
more
gave
than
up
that. Yeah,
I think they gave up like three.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
Like it's about as dominant a performance you could have. Yeah, that gold medal game was close.
they were really good.
Um, I think it was 2-1 too, wasn't it? I think just like the
I
men's
think
game.
both of them were 2-1. Yeah.
Yeah, but obviously our women's hockey team competes every time. So
Really good. I also am
yeah,
curious to know, and I don't have these numbers obviously, but one thing I just thought of that, not to diminish it at all, I think they're probably really good. But in terms of women's sports, why we're probably better at them, I wonder if there's a significant number of less countries competing in women's events, like women's team sports, than in men's. And I don't know the answer to that
I
question,
mean,
but
it's
it's
possible
possible.
there's some truth to that.
I don't know, honestly. No
But
idea.
before you get to the Olympics, I think it's similar to soccer where they play a lot of games before,
Right, right, right.
right? So
You've
once you get
got
to the
like
Olympics, you're competing against the same level of, I mean, the same
right,
number of
right.
teams.
No, for
Yeah,
sure. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. I don't know that there's much to that one way or the other.
I
I
don't know.
think to your point, because it's new and I don't know that there's a lot of professional hockey leagues for women, in general, whereas, there's professional hockey leagues all over the world for men.
Yeah,
Um, so to your point, there could be lesser amount of teams and that kind of thing, or women that actually play than there are men, but
yeah.
I don't think that had anything to do with the outcome. I think it's just a really talented team.
We also
So,
won gold in women's figure skating for the first time in like a really, really long time. I don't remember the exact, like I think it was 80s or 90s. This girl named like Alyssa or Alicia or something like that. Um, and I saw a
was her last name Lou?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I saw
Have you heard her story?
no, but I saw something on Instagram where like before the Olympics she had like I don't know like 50,000 followers on Instagram, and now she's got like 5 million or something, and she won two
Her
golds.
dad
So
her dad was speaking out against the Chinese government back in the '80s. Like, he was there during Tiananmen Square,
okay.
and, he was going to be killed. They were trying to hunt him down, and someone helped him by boat get out of the country, and he came here as
Oh wow.
refugee
Yeah,
seeking asylum. He got citizenship, and now his daughter just won gold for the US in the Olympics. It's
that's
crazy.
crazy cool. That's
It's a
really
great
really cool.
story. I'm getting some of it wrong,
But
but
general
he's a
premise,
Chinese citizen, or, by birth,
right, right.
um, and escaped the country, didn't leave the country, literally was going to be rounded up. He had been arrested once or twice for free speech violations, against the government, but after Tiananmen Square,
Free
there were people
speech.
like, "We gotta get you out of here." Um, so it's kind of actually a really incredible story
That is incredible.
that mhm.
Wow,
So,
I had no
yeah,
idea.
so look it up. It's interesting.
I didn't really watch like any of the Olympics. I followed the medal count most of
I didn't hear
the.
that story there, I read it somewhere else.
Oh, okay, cool. I you know followed it like the medal count, and then when
Mhm.
individual sports got close to the end and we were like competing for medals and stuff, I kind of looked at it and tuned into those specific like races, but I didn't really watch any of it. I saw clips afterwards, obviously, of like hockey and then the figure skating and that kind of stuff, but like I didn't, um, and then obviously like in specific scenarios dove into certain situations, like the whole whatever thing with the hockey team. It kind of sucks that to some degree people are going to remember that maybe a little bit more than they should, than just like the achievement by the athletes. Like props to them, props to whatever they did, and they represented the country well, and that's really all that needs to be talked about in that case, in that scenario. So you know
Yeah.
um but yeah, I think that it was a really good Olympics for us. Finished second, like you said. Norway dominated. I think because they were number one. I think they still finished like 12 medals ahead of us or something like that. So they
Well,
dominated. But
it was like 9, I think.
yeah,
Hold
something to
on.
that effect. But
They had 4, yeah, it was, well, 8. They had 41, we had 33 total. They had
yeah,
18 gold, we were number 2 in gold with 12. So,
okay, yeah, I knew
yeah.
I knew it was a pretty big difference
And it was
in
Netherlands right behind us, then Italy and Germany.
yeah. So but it was a good couple of weeks for us, I'd say, and uh, you know the other reason I didn't really watch a ton of it is just because the Summer Olympics are obviously games that I resonate with a lot more. You got basketball, you got soccer that I'll at least watch. You know, 2028 they're gonna have flag football, which will be kind of fun. I think maybe a lot more fun than the Pro Bowl flag football, I'd say. um,
Yeah, I saw something the other day, I didn't take time to really look at it, so I'm unsure the details, but I heard right now, like the number one ranked flag football quarterback right now is Rashawn Rondo.
Rajon Rondo.
Yeah, NBA player.
There's no way that's true. Maybe, I
I
don't know. I know there's, like, flag football leagues, like,
I mean, he
obviously
was a
there.
pretty epic passer, but
Yeah, for sure. Maybe. I don't
he's
know.
ranked number one.
Oh, okay, alright. Well, there was the
Number
reason.
one ranked flag football quarterback in the US head it ahead of 2028 Olympics.
Interesting. The only reason I said that I didn't believe it necessarily was because there is one guy, and I don't know his name, which sucks for him. I
Yeah, I
wish.
remember all that around when they were said the NFL player was gonna play. He's like, "It's a
Right.
different game. You're not be better than me." Whatever,
Shut
man.
up. Patrick Mahomes is better than you at throwing a football, I promise.
Well, apparently right now, Rajon Rondo is better than him.
Well, yeah, sure, but I promise you that, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, whoever is better at throwing a football than
Well, and
Rajon
there's no
Rondo.
way the fantasy football game is faster than the NFL.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
no,
his
no,
point was, "Yeah, but you gotta make quick this you gotta do this." Whatever, man. Try doing that with a 300-pound lineman that's gonna light you up,
right. So,
not pull the flag off your belt.
uh,
Um, we can go to football for a short period. The first thing I figure I'd throw out there is, shout out to Rudy Rudiger.
to what?
Rudy Rudiger, famous Notre Dame player,
Oh,
walk
right,
on.
right. What happened?
He died this week.
Oh, really? Really?
He did.
R.I.P. Rudy.
So, yep,
That I mean,
yep, yep.
shout out the legend. Shout out the movie. Um, don't shout out Notre Dame. Hate them, but like cool.
But he did pass this week. Really great
R.I.P. Rudy.
story. Not that he died, but his story is really great. So
Right, 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 right. Um,
there's not much happening in the NFL right now.
yeah.
I think
Javonte Williams got
I
extended 3 year, 24 mil by the Cowboys.
yeah, I read Lynch is working on getting Trent Williams nailed down. Um, I think kind of one of the biggest stories, and it's just weird, is the Dolphins and all this rumor around Malik.
Yeah.
Because we got all the Green Bay guys now, the GM, the coach. There's a relationship there. I think even I think maybe even the OC we brought in had been with him before.
No. Oh. That's something I
That
wanted to
coach.
mention that really is aggravating me right now. Our offensive staff, and I don't know football, right? In the X's and O's sense, right? To
Right.
to question these people, but our offensive staff is actually like atrociously bad. Right now, our Dolphins offensive coordinator is I think it's Bobby Slowick right now. Yeah, it's Bobby Slowick, who his last job before that was the OC in CJ Stroud's sophomore year when they were like terrible. Like,
I mean, in fairness, they've been kind of terrible since the first year, but
sure, but they were even better this year than they were in his second year, even though it wasn't great. Um, you know, but
look,
the point is, I didn't like the hire. And then I think maybe our quarterbacks coach. No, it wasn't our quarterbacks coach. There was one other coach that we hired that I looked at and was like, dude, what? I don't know. Maybe it was like our running backs coach or something. I
look,
don't remember. But there
yeah,
was.
it's fine, whatever. I don't think it matters.
I
Look,
mean, we're
here's
going to
the
be bad
problem.
either way. So, but like
Let's
Bobby
assume
Slowick
you
ain't
could
the
get
move.
first of all, the Malik thing. I almost feel like it's a rumor being floated by agents or something to try to get interests. Because here's the thing. He looked good when he played this year, but he threw 35 passes. He didn't play much.
Yeah, no. I mean, like,
And he has looked good in flashes under LaFleur, right? Here's my concern. If I was any team and had the availability to pull him in, because the weird thing is everybody's talking about the Dolphins. The Dolphins can't do that unless they can trade Tua.
Well, I don't
You
know.
can't
I
you
mean,
can't sign him and keep Tua.
it depends on what the
So
market for Malik Willis actually is, because yeah, he had 3 solid
this is what I'm
games.
saying.
Uh,
This is what I'm saying. I don't know if there is one. I think this rumor about Miami is more their agent trying to drum up interest. I
Maybe.
think he's actually better than anybody that's on our roster, but that doesn't change
I mean, I don't
anything.
know that he's a
But
better quarterback than Tua, but for the value, obviously. But
well,
like,
he's certainly more athletic and at least use his legs and he can take a hit.
sure. I guess my point
By
is,
definition, that makes him better than Tua. I don't care if he can throw it, if he gets rid of it in 2 seconds, but if he has to hold it at all, he's going to throw a pick or get lit up. Like, it doesn't matter. So anybody's better than Tua because he can't play NFL quarterback, because he can't take a hit and he can't use his legs at all and
we,
won't even try.
we talk about this guy like he didn't lead the league in passing yards 2 years ago, and I'm not like obviously he's not a great
In one
quarterback.
very specific instance, and even in that year, go back and look at the record against winning teams down the stretch. It was
No, for sure. And
atrocious.
I'm not trying to say he's a good quarterback, but I would say that at this point he's probably like the
He did
20.
it in a perfectly built system that he was made to run, and if he was athletic and if he could take a hit,
I would
I
say
wouldn't argue.
if I'm ranking quarterbacks, he's probably somewhere between the value of like 20 and 24 in the league, which obviously isn't good, but there's still a good number of
Not when you're making
quarterbacks.
50 million.
No, hold on. There's a good number of quarterbacks that aren't as good as him, especially when you include backups. But I will say when you add value, which means you're adding availability and injury concerns, right? Availability and contract concerns, then yeah, I would say instead of 20 to 24, he's probably like the 50th best quarterback in the league, right? Because then you're
Yeah.
adding value,
So
and obviously,
anyway,
but
here's
you
the
also
point.
add value when you're talking about a team being good to compete, right? Like right now, I don't worry about his contract at all because I know we're not going to be good whether his contract's on the books or not. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but here's the problem. You can't bring in Malik anyway unless Tua is not there. That's
But
the first
again,
thing.
that depends on the market. Like I don't know if the market's $8 million,
It
like
doesn't
sure.
matter what the market. We don't have any cap room.
Well, again, you can negotiate
And
contracts
we're already
with
doing that. We still don't have any.
sure.
So here's the point I'm trying to make here. Let's assume we could get him. What does that mean?
Nothing. It
And
means
what
that
I
we're going
what
to
I
lose games. That's what it means.
we're going to lose games anyway. So it doesn't mean anything. My point I'm trying to make is, even if I'm the Jets or I'm somebody else that like, well, Malik, maybe he's good. Maybe he is. But maybe it's the Kyle Shanahan effect, the LaFleur effect outside of Rodgers, because that doesn't count, right?
I mean, it kind of
Where,
counts slightly.
but it's not. That wasn't LaFleur.
I mean,
I don't like Aaron Rodgers, but Aaron Rodgers is a generational
no,
talent.
obviously, but he was literally the couple seasons prior to that so bad that not so bad, but like poor enough
By
to
his
where they
standards.
drafted a quarterback
By his own standards.
No. I mean, he was like a league average quarterback that was old, right, in those couple of years and had some
Fine.
injuries. So by that standard, his play was relatively poor
Let me
enough to
finish
where
this
they
thought.
were okay with drafting a quarterback in the first
I
round.
got it.
And then he got him 2 more MVPs after that.
I understand. I got it.
So LaFleur is part of it,
Talent still.
obviously, but LaFleur is part of it.
Is, fine. Although he did it, he won a Super Bowl before him. Or no, that was right after he got there, right? Right when he got there.
The Super Bowl?
Or was that or was that with McCarthy?
It was a decade before he was there.
No, Aaron Rodgers has a Super Bowl.
No. I know.
I couldn't remember who the coach was. It doesn't
was
matter.
a decade before Matt LaFleur was there.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Mike McCarthy won a damn Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers.
And then lost a lot of games, a lot of playoff games.
I understand.
It
Well,
very,
it was a lot.
very
I lost a lot of
underperformed.
playoff games.
Very
Anyway,
underperformed.
Here's the point. Okay. Malik could be part of the effect, like, look at what Jimmy G has done since he left Kyle Shanahan, nothing, right? Some of these guys, Mac Jones, like I'd be really cautious about signing a Mac Jones because we saw what he was doing with the Patriots, and then he looked pretty good this year, but he had Kyle Shanahan, right?
I mean, I think Mac Jones is relatively underrated.
Malik going to Miami isn't going to have any of those guys.
No, for sure.
Including LaFleur. And so, like, if I'm the Jets, I don't know that I'd sign him. if I'm any of those teams that need somebody right now,
The only
I don't
team
know that
that
I
I
would
would
sign him.
feel good about signing one of those guys with, Malik Willis or Mac Jones, or re-signing Daniel Jones, is the Colts, because they have an offensive coach and they've got a good offensive situation. Yeah, it fell apart late, but they had a lot of injuries. That's the only team that whichever quarterback they sign, I'm going to feel okay about. Like if they re-sign Daniel Jones, I'm like, okay, that's fine.
Well,
If
they
they
definitely should re-sign Daniel Jones,
Well,
but
or they could get Malik Willis, because I think Malik Willis probably has a little bit higher upside than Daniel Jones. Or if they got Mac Jones just to be a baseline game manager that you're less worried about getting hurt or whatever, then I would feel okay about the season that Mac Jones is going to have. Again, none of them are like great. You're not going to win a Super Bowl with them, most likely. But I do
I,
believe that's
I
a
don't
good
I don't know if it's true.
situation.
Yeah.
Um,
Anyway, I just find it interesting. There's all this talk about Malik going to Miami. Miami can't afford him. I don't know that it's a good signing if you can,
no, I agree. I agree.
simply because if without the offensive coordinators and the offensive coach that they have in Green Bay, is he going to be good? I don't know. I have no doubt he would be great in San Francisco,
Probably so. I mean, Kyle Shanahan's really good at his job, and they have talent when they're
right?
fully
I have no
healthy.
doubt he could be a fit in a place like Las Vegas, although they're going to take Mendoza. I have no
I
doubt.
mean, I would feel really bad about him being a fit there unless they get an offensive line, because their offensive line is atrocious. So I'd feel really bad about any quarterback being there.
I know, but at least Malik is very mobile,
Sure, but
athletic.
mobility can only do you so much. Like if you have a terrible offensive line, you have a terrible offensive
I know.
line.
I feel like they're going to correct that, right? I don't think Clint Kubiak takes that job if he didn't feel confident that he was going to go in there and fix that.
Sure,
And
but
keep
the
in mind,
track record of the
He
way
comes
that
from the Shanahan tree, who one thing they can always do is block and run.
sure,
I mean, look what McDaniels did last year with Achan, right? Like
but again,
that tree,
scheme can only do
that
so much.
no, but scheme does a whole lot.
It does a lot, but it can only do so much.
Like like you go back to the Denver Broncos of the Mike Shanahan era.
Again,
You can't name many of those offensive linemen.
I can't name many offensive linemen that played before 2010 anyways, and there's a lot of
I
them in
know
the Hall
that,
of
but
Fame. I can't
my
name
point
most of
is,
them.
I can name linemen off the Cowboys in the '90s
Okay,
because
but
they had elite
because they're Hall
linemen.
of Fame offensive
I,
linemen.
I got it. Let's not forget those Mike Shanahan teams won Super Bowls and had 2,000-yard rusher.
Right.
But they're great at scheme,
No, sure, but
very great at scheme, and they can run. And so you put him in, and that's where Kubiak's going. Is a place that doesn't have an offensive line today. I don't think they have to have Hall of Fame line talent
no,
or
obviously
even
not,
first
but it's got to be pretty good.
round offensive line talent.
I mean, you probably got to have a
But
couple. It's
scheme
really
does a
bad right
lot.
now. It's really
Scheme
bad.
does a lot. I'm just saying. Well, they do have the one guy that is a high pick.
Who?
I don't remember his name. They do have
Okay,
an offensive lineman.
let me put it this way.
My point is
Play worthy of
Kubiak
being a high
wouldn't take
pick.
that.
Because just because you
Kubiak
take one
would
high
not
doesn't mean anything.
Kubiak would not have taken that job if he didn't think he was going to fix the
All I'm
offensive
trying
line.
to say is that the way that the organization is run, their track record does not say that that's how it's going to work. So, we can trust
All I
Clint.
can say is Kubiak comes from a tree of coaching that has been successful in a lot of places.
Now, for what it's
It's
worth,
not like all one.
the Seahawks had a good offense this year, really good. And Kenneth Walker came really alive in the playoffs, especially once Zach Charbonnet got hurt. Obviously, he won Super Bowl MVP. But in the regular season, they had the most rushing attempts in the league by a margin. And we're like the fourth or fifth least efficient offensive running team in the league, because their running game for most of the year was serviceable, but was not very good, not to the level that it was leaned on. You do have what I believe to be a more talented running back in Ashton Jeanty than either of them that are in Seattle. Again, although all respect to Kenneth Walker and what he just did, I do believe Ashton Jeanty is more talented than either of them, so maybe that makes a difference as well. And the Seahawks offensive line going into last year wasn't viewed as really good, and now it's viewed as solid. It's not viewed as great, and so he did a lot with that, in fairness. But it was still an inefficient running game. So we'll see how it goes. I don't expect it, obviously, to get fully turned around in 1 year. If you can make it serviceable enough to really help Fernando Mendoza's growth, and then obviously Ashton Genty's growth. Great. I just don't know. We'll see. Especially because they also don't have any receiver talent right now. Like
I mean,
they've
look,
got Brock
the
Bowers, but
toughest thing the toughest thing for them is they're in a division with two of
oh
the
yeah,
best
yeah,
defenses in football,
you're not going to be
and the
good.
Chiefs, depending on if they bounce back or not with their defense, is gonna be really good.
You're
You have
not, yeah,
2 elite
you're not going to
defenses.
actually be competitive. You're not going to win games, not for a long time. I mean, like because you've got three
I
teams
I
that
I think
have
that's true, but the turnaround with the Chargers hasn't happened as fast as I expected it to be. I mean, they've been a playoff team.
both years,
Um,
and they've been really really good teams in both years. And yeah, they lost
yeah,
playoff games, obviously, but situation is bad. Um, we'll see. I do expect this year to probably be this upcoming year to be the best year in Harbaugh's tenure so far, just because you did get an elite offensive mind as your coordinator in Mike McDaniel, and you are going to have both of your all-pro tackles coming back. And in theory, at least for now, you're going to be healthy at running back. And if you can get another receiver weapon
I
or a tight end weapon, like they could be
I
really good
agree
this
with
year. And depending on
I
what
think
the
they will
schedule,
be. I think they could
depending
win the division.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Depending on what the schedule looks like and how it all shakes out, whenever we're doing predictions in a few months, I might have them winning the division. I might. Like it wouldn't shock me.
But here's the thing.
But
Here's the thing that's I think they're gonna do this, and this is not a knock on Herbert, because I wish the Dolphins had drafted Herbert.
right,
They had the opportunity to do it, and we drafted Tua instead. So I wish we had Justin Herbert. That said, what I find interesting is I think you're right. I think I'm not gonna pick them to win the division yet, but I think it's going to be my pick
we still
to
also
win the
have a whole
division.
off season to get to before we start talking about
Yeah,
stuff like that.
but not the point. I think what you're gonna see is I think they could win the division. I think they're gonna have a great season, and it's gonna be, statistically speaking, probably Herbert's lowest year of his career.
It's
I
possible
don't
just
think it's
because
enough.
Mike
I think they're
McDaniel.
gonna have a running game.
Yeah, yeah, no, for sure. But I think it could also just be the best team they have, and for people actually watching the game, they'll understand that it might be actually
Yeah,
Justin Herbert's
right,
best season. But in terms of statistically, I think
right.
that's possible. Yeah, for sure. Because especially early on in his career, his
More about passing yards and stuff. I'm not saying he still won't
right,
score a bunch of
right. No, no,
touchdowns,
no,
but
for sure, for sure. But obviously, early on in his career, his numbers were phenomenal. Even though they weren't winning games because they had literally nothing else and they had to rely on him. And
yeah.
Brandon Staley was an awful head coach, but
One of the worst we've ever seen in the modern era.
yeah, it was terrible. He was,
It was
and he
bad.
had his job 3 years too long. Like the Chargers were atrocious for that. Um,
Yeah.
but I do believe that it is possible that yeah, Herbert could have a low year. Herbert could also by the end of it be in MVP conversations even with the counting stats. And if the counting stats aren't as great as they normally are
By the
for
way,
Herbert,
when I
he
say an
might not
off
win it.
year
But
when I say an off year, I mean he's still probably gonna get the 4K.
I mean, most likely, like at this point, if you're a really good quarterback, there's not many of them
Especially
that
with the
don't.
extra game now, it's kinda weird not to do that in
Yeah,
some ways, but
yeah. I mean, I think on average in the last like 5 or 6 years, which does predate the 17th game by a little bit. I think on average you're having like somewhere between like 12 and 15 guys a year hit 4,000. So like it's not like a
right,
crazy occurrence at this point.
right.
So
But
it's still a
I don't
good
think he'll
season. It's still an above
I don't think
average season,
close
but
to 5, though. I don't think he'll get close to 5.
no, not necessarily. So
Um, alright, on to the NBA.
yeah, on to the NBA. Thunder up by after Isaiah Joe takes his free throw, about 20 right now in
It is
Toronto.
exactly 20 right now.
Oh well, then you're a few seconds ahead of me because Isaiah Joe just hit that free throw. So yeah,
Must have been
um,
a tech. We just threw it in. We were inbounding too.
yeah, no, it was a tech.
Oh, okay.
Um, but yeah, um, they're really really good at basketball, and it makes me feel really good right now because especially because I told you I think it was last week we were talking about it or maybe it was just like on a phone call or whatever. But I told you that I was worried about this upcoming stretch because we played the Cavs, we're playing the Raptors. Like these are playoff teams, like these are good basketball teams, and we're winning games anyways. And right now, the way we're winning is kind of unsustainable in the sense of like Isaiah Joe's having incredible games, and we're like against the Cavs, we shot like 50% from three. We're not going to do that. We don't normally do that, even with the offensive engine of Shea on the court taking away that much pressure from the other guys. We don't normally shoot 50% from three. So expand this out, extrapolate it out. If Shea misses 3 more weeks, we're not going to lose 2 games over that stretch. We would lose more
Look,
than that.
here
But it
here's
does
the thing.
give me confidence that we don't necessarily need to rush him. I mean, like, we already haven't rushed him. He's missed more time than I expected him to already. So I expected him to come back after the All-Star break. No worry, like,
Here's
whatever.
here's what this
But
is highlighting. This is less about Shea being out, less about Dub being out. What has been highlighted this season in general, right? Because Dub's played, what, 10 games, maybe 12,
I
15
mean,
at
if
most?
that, like, he's not played a
Yeah.
ton of games.
Um, when you look at how deep this roster is, we have 4 or 5 guys on our bench that would start for just about every team in the league.
I mean,
Wallace would start, Wiggins would start,
on a lot of teams, not all of them, but a good amount.
Mitchell would start.
AJ, yeah.
Yeah, obviously McCain
I mean, I don't know
would
about Jared
start.
McCain. He's young enough that he would start on a good amount of teams, but he wasn't even starting for the Sixers, and the Sixers are not a good basketball team,
I
particularly
got you, but
speaking.
what I'm trying to say is what we're
Wow, it's a
seeing
lot more
right
than
now.
J Dub's played 26 games. That's a lot more than I thought it was.
Really?
I
Doesn't
mean, it's
seem like
still
it.
only
Yeah.
apparently
Anyway, the
that's what
point I'm
it's.
making is what we're seeing right now is we already knew we were deep,
Of course, of course. That's really
but
what helps us in,
we're
in April and May.
really deep. Yeah, and so I there's part of me that kind of likes that some of these guys are getting these kind of minutes right
I
now.
think it's fun. I think it's fun to
Um,
watch. Like just all the guys are
it's
just the
it's it's
energy. They're just hooping.
it's fun to watch. What I'm hoping is that we're not being so conservative that we get into April and we're not in sync anymore. Like
Right,
at some
right.
point, we got to
Now,
have our starters for a good month on the court,
I will say that I'm
and I
not.
don't want to lose home court. I'm not. I think we can go on the road and win. I'm not worried about it, but I want home field or
I,
home
I,
court.
I do
So
too, obviously, and I think that matters. I think really to me though, I'm not worried about the sync thing. I'm more worried about rust. I could be concerned
well,
about.
that's kind of part of it.
Sure,
But
I could be concerned about not Shea particularly, but Dub or
well, we've seen it with Dub
right
all year when he's come in.
or Chet or anybody else, AJ Mitchell. Um, I could be concerned with those guys about potential rust if they don't play enough before the playoffs to get warmed up. I'm not necessarily worried about being in sync though, because we still have the best record in the league right now. And like you said, every single one of our guys on the court all at the same time. They played 1 or 2 games together. That's it. And we're still the best record in the league. And last year, Chet missed like 50 games. Caruso missed half the season. Hartenstein missed a couple months. And we went into the playoffs and won a title, right? So I'm not worried about the in sync part.
No,
This
I
team has
know.
great
It's
chemistry. I'm not worried,
very
and really
well. That's your time.
it's the carryover from last year that makes me not concerned. If we had added a couple pieces this year, there were major rotational pieces and whatnot, from after winning a title, then I might be a little bit concerned about it. But Jared McCain's the only guy, and I'm not even convinced that he's going to get real rotational minutes in the playoffs once the team's healthy. He might, but he might not. So I'm not really concerned about that at all. But the rust, to some degree, could concern me, and I'm not worried about Shea's rust, but maybe Shea's
No, Tay will be fine.
right, but maybe Shea's efficiency, because it did drop a little bit in the playoffs.
Maybe in a game or two, but not by much.
But
It wouldn't
that could
over a
concern
long
me
period
a
of
little
time.
bit.
So
But that's really it.
yeah, I mean, look, the injury bug this year for a team that's as young as we are, it definitely concerns me. But we'll see what happens.
Right. It does
Um,
definitely hurt the potential idea of the long term future. Like if you want to talk, 1 in 3 or 4 or 5, it's like even if we do get it done this year again, it's like okay, but how many years can we get that
look,
lucky with injuries
I
or that unlucky with injuries and then still win it? You know what I mean?
I
Because it
do
would be
think
the
part
second
of
year
it
in a
though
row.
is
Oh my gosh, Jay Will.
I do think part of it though is we're just overly conservative with them, but that gets a
No,
little
I
old
I
sometimes.
I, I agree. I think that is a big part of it that we're being conservative with it right now. And we've earned every right to be. I mean, like I said, we're going on the road and beating major playoff contenders in the other's conference. Like, you know what I mean? Like without Shea or Dub, and like
So
Chet was a game time decision today. AJ Mitchell didn't play today. Caruso was a game time decision today, and obviously Caruso and Chet are both playing. But like, we're being conservative with guys, and we're still blowing teams out. Like,
yeah, I think part of that is outside of the top 3 seeds in the East, no one else is really a contender, and that
that's
includes the Cavs. Like,
eh,
their fall off doesn't even make sense. Um,
injuries. They've had a ton of injuries. Or not a ton of injuries, but they've had injuries to major players, particularly Darius Garland, who was a big piece of their offense. And now he's gone, and James Harden is getting acclimated. And so maybe that
I
makes their offense better at some point, but I don't know. Like,
look, I have been on this other thing for a couple of weeks now, and right now, I'm even more on it. If Shea misses too much more time, and I don't even mean to get to under the eligibility part,
sure.
right? Jaylen Brown's my front runner, man. They're the 2nd seed now in the East.
I would
This was
lean.
supposed to be a throwaway season for the Celtics. They
I
lost Porzingis in the offseason. Obviously, Tatum out with the injury. Like, it's hard not to argue that right now. He is
agreed.
carrying that.
Agreed. And assuming that Jokic, Wimby, and Luca all end up below the eligibility requirement, Jaylen Brown is no doubt first team, All NBA, and probably finishes, depending on eligibility of Shea, second or third in MVP voting. And I don't hate the shout for him to be MVP. I would probably lean Cade if Shea's out.
Yeah, but that roster was supposed to take the next step this
I
year.
mean,
And
kind of, but keep in mind, 2 years ago, and I get it's not necessarily the same team. They've got a different coach, which matters a lot. Shout out JB Biggerstaff. But 2 years ago, this is literally a team that tied the record for the most consecutive losses in a single season. Tied the record
No, I know, but
2
they
years
made a
ago.
lot of year. I got it.
Yes, they had a major step up last year. They became the 5 or 6 seed, I think it was, and then took the Knicks, gosh, to 7 games in the playoffs. Like they were really really good. And so yes, it is the next step, especially when you consider the Pacers are out, the Celtics were supposed to be out. The Cavs have taken a step back. The Knicks have kind of treaded water. The Bucks
You're
suck.
making a point.
When you look
I
at all these other teams that should have been good and aren't, for one reason or another, like yes, that was the next natural progression,
yeah, look,
but
it's
that
not
was the next natural progression for the Hawks and the Magic too, and they haven't done that, right?
well,
And the
those are
Pistons.
different teams.
I mean,
But
kind of, but those are both young teams that had good players,
look,
and the
hold
Hawks
on.
season ended up so bad that they literally
Am I gonna
traded
talk
Trae Young.
today? Am I gonna talk today?
But what I'm
Look,
saying is that I would lean Cade.
no,
Just
I
I think
understand what you're saying.
he's
What I am
phenomenal.
saying is, at best, the Celtics were supposed to be a play-in team. At best.
I mean, I could see them
But
getting the 6th seed, but yeah, 7-8 was about where they were probably projected.
They're the 2.
No, I know they're incredible.
Going into the season, everybody would have considered their best player.
I mean,
Right?
I think still
And
most
then-
people would, but
Right. But I guess take Shea off our roster. We're a playoff team. We're a playoff team still. We have enough talent.
for
We're
the
still
whole
winning game.
right now in the middle of the
Well, hold
season
on.
when everybody's banged up a little bit
But
in specific
You're
games
making my point.
over a whole season.
Tatum's not. You're making my point though. Tatum's not there. They're the 2nd seed.
No, I know it's phenomenal.
Less talented roster than they had last year.
Absolutely.
Jaylen Brown. That's my point. Yeah, Cade's playing great.
Again, like
But
you
that
said,
team is a better roster.
like you said, if he ended up winning it, I wouldn't be upset about it. I wouldn't argue it. I would say that makes sense. And with you taking him as your MVP, that makes sense. I'm just leaning Cade. Yeah, I mean, and that's it. That's it. That's really it. It would be a really, really close race if Shea ends up ineligible. Very close race. Even if Shea is eligible, depending on how many more games he misses, it could get close just because difference in games played would be a disparity between him and those other 2 guys. So it could get close, even if he stays eligible, if he misses too many more. But I think if he stays eligible, like if he misses another week or so and then he's back and plays the rest of the season, I think he'll probably still win it, like running
He
away.
probably will. But even as a Thunder fan,
There is a small part of me.
it's hard for me to not.
Right. obviously I want Shea to win it, and you know whatever, and I'm rooting for that. But there is a small part of me that almost does want him to be ineligible because if he is eligible and he doesn't win it, even if at that point I feel he doesn't deserve it, I'm gonna be a little bit upset about it as a fan, right? As a biased fan. But there is part of me that
Well, you know me, I don't care about that at all.
there is a part of me that does hope he
He
ends
had
up.
2 former MVPs on the team and didn't win a title. I don't that's all I
Sure,
care about.
sure, but now that Shea's got that done, obviously I'm still rooting for him to win MVP.
But I'd rather have another title than him get another MVP.
Sure, sure, um, anyways, there is a part of me that is kind of hoping that he ends up ineligible, as long as it doesn't hurt our record too much. That he ends up ineligible, just so that way Cade or Jaylen Brown can win it, because I think that'd be really cool. But I don't think he will end up ineligible. I mean, he's still
Can I just
got
point
a
something out
solid number
again?
of games.
I
I
know
think
we
like
talk
7 or
about
8.
this. I know we talk about this stuff and that Presti's the best GM in basketball and it's not close.
He's really freaking good.
He's drafted 4 MVPs since what, 2007?
Yeah, and 3 of them won it on the roster.
Right.
And he
Well, he didn't draft Shea, but
well, okay,
he brought him in.
yeah, he drafted
So I guess
3.
he's drafted 3 and brought
He
a 4th in,
he drafted 3
but
MVPs, 2 of them which won it on the roster, and
yeah.
then traded for a guy that ended up second in MVP voting, who's had a very good career, and somehow the best season of his career was still on our roster. He ended up second in MVP and second in Defensive Player of the Year voting that season in both races, only behind Giannis, and then traded him for another guy that won MVP. So, oh, and 7 draft picks.
Yeah,
So
it's kind of
shout
nuts
out Paul
to think
George. The
about.
Paul George fall off is insane. I mean, he's had injuries and he's old, but like he's making $40 million for the a year for the Sixers, and right now in 2K, and I get 2K's 2K, but whatever. But right now in 2K, he's an 80 overall. Like it's insane. Like his fall off is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
so
Tua makes 53, so
I
whatever.
mean, yeah, different game, different
There's
game.
no
But
comparing him and Paul George in their careers, so.
no, I mean Paul George is a borderline Hall of Famer for sure. Like he'll probably
Well, I
make it
mean,
someday.
in
In
the NBA, of course he is. They don't even have their own Hall of Fame, which is still, like, doesn't even make sense, but
I mean, sure, but
there's just a basketball Hall of Fame.
right, right, but it's really the
Um,
only one of the. I mean, like it's really the only one of like the big sports in America that has like truly major competition outside of the U.S. Like um baseball, yeah, there are other countries that are good at baseball and produce a lot of baseball talent, but in terms of leagues, there's no league that really even remotely competes with the MLB. Obviously, in football, they're trying to make it go more global with like these international games and stuff, and they do have some international players in the league at this point. But like the NFL, there's no real competition anywhere else. And not really to say that the EuroLeague necessarily competes with basketball, but like with the NBA, but like it kind of does. And there's a lot like the 5 best players in the world right now are all not American. Um, and yes, they all play in the NBA, but they're all not American. So I would say that that's really the only argument there, right? But I understand your point that like the NBA should have their own. I get that.
yeah.
Um, but
Alright. Well,
um,
I think that's it.
quickly, just because it's insane, and I forgot to bring it up last week, and I knew that uh, you wouldn't bring it up because I don't know if you've seen it or not, so I'm going to ask you about it. Have you seen the KD files?
Does this have to do with his burner or whatever?
Yeah, no. Okay, so it's
I don't
insane.
know any deets. I don't know the deets, but
Okay, so it's actually insane. So it basically came out that like people had done digging and done research and somehow found out like they found Kevin Durant's burner and like were able to tie it to him. I don't know
I'm not
exactly
sure how
how.
you could do that,
I don't
but
know. Maybe it was an IP address or something. I don't know. I honestly I don't
yeah.
know. But somehow, some way, they tied it to him, and he hasn't really said anything on it necessarily. Like he hasn't commented on it, but he hasn't denied it. Which obviously, if it wasn't him, then that's the first thing you do.
What's the point? What were these burners saying? Because we've known he's used burners for a long
No,
time.
no. Sure. Basically, it talked crap on Jabari Smith Jr. and Alperen Sengun, who are both current teammates of his. Um, with the Rockets. It talked crap on Devin Booker. It like called him a dictator or something like that. He called the funniest one. He called Russell Westbrook, referred to him as triple double cocaine bear, which is just
I
hilarious.
think that's a compliment.
The way he said it was not it was meant as derogatory, but
Because he did that for Westbrook a big compliment this week.
but it's really really funny.
In fact, I think he said he gave Russ a slight edge to Steph just because he just goes 90 miles an hour.
He was
To me, that sounds like that perfectly. By the way, I love Russell
no,
Westbrook.
it absolutely perfectly describes him. It's
Perfectly describes
hilarious.
Russell
It's
Westbrook.
absolutely hilarious in my opinion. But
No, I think it's a compliment.
I don't know
That
that
absolutely describes him.
I don't know that it was meant that way. But
I
you
mean,
can
he
take it
played
as a
him a
compliment.
compliment.
It's very funny. Triple double
He
cocaine
actually
bear.
played him a huge compliment though this week. So
Yeah. No, I think that their actual like relationship at this point, both personal and professional, is completely fine. I do think there is definitely a time in their life where it wasn't. I think Russ is a very
I mean,
emotional
there was just a
person,
lot
and
of stress.
sure,
There's a lot of stress,
Russ
and
is a
everybody
very
keeps saying,
emotional person, and it obviously definitely
"Yeah,
bleeds into his work and that kind of thing. So I think there was definitely a period of time where
that's
they were
part of what
not
makes him
okay.
special.
Right.
It's
There
part
was
of what
definitely
makes him
a period
special."
of time where they were not okay, but I do believe they are
And
now.
everybody's always talked about in the media how Russ is a tough teammate to play with, but that's not what the players actually say.
No, I 1000% believe that Kevin Durant is a tough person to play with. Not on the court. On the court, his talent and his archetype molds to literally any situation. Like he's the perfect plug
Yeah,
and play player for any situation. But off the
yeah, I
court,
agree.
personality, that kind of thing, I do believe he's probably a very tough player to play with. I mean, like he just gives up at some point. Very similarly to James Harden, at some point he just gives up on you. And like,
Well, okay, that's not a comparison.
no. I'm saying they both have
Kevin
just.
Durant has 2 rings that those guys don't get without him.
I don't know that they don't. They're still in the finals for sure. Maybe not the second time like with the against the Rockets. Maybe without him they don't get there. But I mean the year after even without him they got there. Well, no, he was still there until the finals. He got hurt in the finals.
Kevin
But
Durant is not James Harden.
no, for sure.
Anyway,
For
there's no comparison.
for sure. I'm saying personality wise, I would say that they're both soft. They both never take
See,
accountability for anything.
I think there was a time where that might have been true about Durant. I don't think that's true now.
I
I
mean,
I think
I
he
don't know
proved
what you
the
would
way
have
he
seen that at
played
this
the
point has
playoffs.
helped him since he got to that.
I mean, the 2 Warriors finals. I mean,
On the most stacked rosters in the history of the sport. Not to take anything away from him. Obviously, he's a part of it being stacked, but he didn't.
he
He
was
could
the
go out
best
there.
player on that team.
Yes, he was. But to act like the other infrastructure around him didn't just instantly give him 30 a night, like, is insane. You know what I mean?
And
Like,
let's not forget, with the Thunder, which was a younger team and everything else, with the Thunder, it's not like they didn't go to the finals and they weren't very successful in the playoffs over several years.
no, for sure. But I do believe that the emotional and I do believe the emotional and vocal leader of that roster and of that locker room was obviously Russell Westbrook. Just like in Golden State, it was Steph and Draymond, right?
Sure.
Just
I'm not
like
arguing that.
in Brooklyn, I don't believe it was anybody because they were all checked out. None of them are team players, right? Kyrie,
Yeah, no,
James Harden, KD, right? Just like in Phoenix, I believe it was Chris Paul and a little bit of Devin Booker. And just like now, I don't know. I honestly don't know. In Houston,
I'm not
maybe
arguing
it's
that.
Fred
I'm
Van
not
Vliet, who
saying
is
he's
not
a
on the
leader.
court. So I don't
I'm
know.
not saying he's a leader, but on the basketball court, he has played some of his best basketball
That's
in the
why I
playoffs.
said. That's why I said.
James Harden has never
Talent-wise,
played basketball in the playoffs.
I'm not going to say
He didn't play good basketball in the playoffs when he played for the Thunder as a 6th man.
that was before he was at his peak, even remotely close.
I understand that.
He's
but he
had
wasn't
good
even going in.
he's had good basketball games in the playoffs. Like I mean,
Okay, maybe a game or 2, but overall, he's been really
in
terrible.
2018, they were a game away from going to the finals over that stacked Warriors team, and the only reason they didn't was in part A, Chris Paul missed Game 7, and B, they missed 27 straight threes, and obviously James Harden was a part of that. Duh. But my point is, they had to get to that point. They had to get to Game 7 against the most stacked roster in history, in the third round of the playoffs, right? Like he had a good playoff run, and not to say that he's definitely had more poor playoff runs than good ones for sure, right? So I'm not comparing him and Kevin Durant in that sense. Like I said, I'm talking personality. I'm talking off the court. I'm talking those kind of things. I'm not saying on the court. which, for what it's worth, on the court in its own right, James Harden's an incredible basketball player, and he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Is he a borderline
Well,
top 10 player? No. Is Kevin Durant a borderline top 10 player? At this point, probably not, but like 15 to 20, probably, yeah. Higher than James Harden all time, yes.
the other thing is James
But
Harden has been elite offensively. Kevin Durant's been elite offensively and a decent to good defensive
he
player.
was a really good defensive player in the 2 years that he was in.
And I don't think you could ever question Kevin Durant's work ethic. There have been times in James's career where weren't sure, where he's get a little pudgy and,
To some degree, at some point, I could probably question Kevin Durant's work ethic. I just think he's that good to where it doesn't matter necessarily. Like, he can go out and drop 30 a night without trying. I do believe that. Like,
I mean, he's the most efficient scorer maybe we've ever seen.
no, I agree.
From
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think he's just so talented that at some point it doesn't matter, right? Like,
right.
but
So,
anyways,
all
yeah,
right.
that's all I
Wrap
got.
it up.
Kevin Durant
No
files, kind
big.
of funny, but
That is funny. It's not necessarily a story to me because he's been using burners for years. That's not new.
no, but we had never officially been able to find any of them, and there was one that was officially linked to him, and we got like,
And that descriptor of Russell Westbrook is perfect, and I take it as a
it
compliment.
was very funny. So, all right, that's all we got. Thanks for tuning into this episode of the Generational Beef podcast.
Generational beef.
We'll be back next week. Some more yapping. Follow us on all the socials. Instagram. Give us a listen on the audio platform. Like, comment, subscribe. That kind of stuff. Get our engagement up. We'll be back.
Jim B.
Peace.